The tragic tale of how a protective kind warrior became the bad guy over time, lost in the illusions of a dark world no longer understood, much less by himself. A state I believe to arise as our beloved brother slowly fell into the trap of separation we all have, equally detrimental to our beautiful sisterhood. Too many weighed down by sophisticated bags filled with distorted feminine attitudes. Now, don't get me wrong, I am not naive, and I don't excuse nor put up with crappy, disrespectful, or abusive behavior. But that doesn't mean I throw all of you on the same pile, or even make it about men. In my opinion, that would be far too easy. We are not the fear that divides us. You think all women see men as the bad guy, or even the devil himself? I've seen too many online comments of guys suggesting as much. And although I understand why, very well actually, it breaks my heart because you would be wrong. Don't believe the picture that has been and is increasingly heavier, painted by society giving way too much of the stage and limelight to those who do, with feminine viewers eager to jump on or believe in it, or any viewers for that matter, adding fuel to the fire that only increases division. Now, don't get me wrong, I am not naive or inexperienced. I've had some very painful and shitty experiences with different not so great men throughout my life, and I don't excuse nor put up with crappy, disrespectful, or abusive behavior. But that doesn't mean I throw all of you on the same pile, or even make it about men. In my opinion, that would be far too easy. And I'm not alone in my views. Please don't throw us on the same pile of all women. It goes both ways. I really like and deeply respect men overall, and I know how much value you bring to the world in so many ways. You've built and continue to build our cities, do most of the work that keeps our societies going, like collecting the garbage that we otherwise would be stuck with, moving food and products in trucks, driving long days for us to be able to have whatever it is we need from the place of production to the stores selling them. The delivery drivers who get orders to our homes. And that includes all the makeup and hair products, bags, supplements, etc. A lot of women's favorite celebrities and influencers recommend and they need to have. Men breaking their backs, carrying heavy loads, or do whatever it is they do day after day. And these are just a few examples, of course. Some of the most important jobs and ingrained in our daily lives, yet invisible at the same time and unappreciated by so many. Men are useless? A phrase that has been said far too often the past years, and one that should never have been said at all, if you ask me. To me, as a woman, it pisses me off while making me incredibly sad as well. Because this is such an unfair blanket statement while completely disregarding the amount of time, energy, resources, and not uncommonly risk of safety or even their lives for the heavy physical labor mostly men do, but also in the countless rescue videos I've seen or stories I heard about. And tell the mother of the toddler hanging off that railing in Paris and her child only alive because of the man who didn't think but climbed the building story after story, risking his own life to save it from certain death. Tell her men are useless. Or all the animals and people who were saved from some very sticky, painful, even life threatening situations. There are countless examples of incredible men, past and present, who have done things some people, including women, might never even consider, much less do or brave enough to do. Or, in many cases, let's be honest, have the physical strength to do. And please don't come for me. I am well aware there are very strong, absolutely courageous, and badass women, and those more than a lot of men, actually. But I did use the words some and mostly. And the reason for this whole video is to highlight there are massive differences between men and women, so within each respective gender. And if that statement was related to men as partners and fathers, I strongly object as well because I have known in my entire life on this planet, and that's quite a number of decades, I've known and been around amazing partners and fathers who really do not deserve to be seen as useless either. And I refuse to believe that I happen to be around the few exceptions there are in this world. I truly, honestly believe that there are countless of amazing fathers, amazing partners who do everything for their wives, for their children, and mean it, not just out of obligation, who are simply just loving beings who have so much to give and want nothing more than to give it to their partners and children. And often the woman is not that appreciative or isn't that great. I mean, I really don't know where that statement comes from, but I can say that I have been around someone who was very negative about men, and I constantly had to point out how many of the men in her life were absolutely amazing. And it's just so I have seen it from a certain side, and I was very close to this person for many, many years. Oh, and the partners and fathers that I said that were actually great. I know that because of those partners and or children of these men who actually, when the man was nowhere around, spoke of their partners to someone I know or to me personally, how great of a man they were. So it's not just appearances in those cases. They weren't putting up a front. And by the way, you can see that a mile away when someone is pretending to be happy or pretending to be grateful for a man who is absolutely not worthy of that compliment. So, there are amazing women, there are amazing men, and there are terrible women and terrible men, regardless of color, ethnicity, religion, class, profession. The beauty is we complement each other. The following that I wrote in 2022 prompted this video and what I like to share. This is my message to all men, but it goes beyond that, and it really is a message to all, whatever your gender. My heart goes out to all men whose struggle I sense so clearly. Invisible fights for the slow death of your truth in the silence. Navigating confusing rules of how to be tough, understanding, a provider, no, accommodating, while all quietly agree we must ignore the human being inside, what you want, truly. The tragic tale of how a protective kind warrior became the bad guy over time, lost in the illusions of a dark world, no longer understood, much less by himself. Now don't get me wrong, as a woman I know all too well the destructive behavior of some, sadly no stranger to the legion of distorted masculine ways, including abuse, the loss of innocence. To find myself in malefic hands again as a teenager, able to escape a known satanic rapist, himself a victim of sadism. The vicious cycle of an imbalanced world, aware it's also rigged against the men it's supposedly ruled by. A state I believe to arise as our beloved brothers slowly fell into the trap of separation we all have, a web of deception skillfully meshed by reptant spiders where every gender, ethnicity, and religion can be found. Equally detrimental to our beautiful sisterhood, too many weighed down by sophisticated bags filled with distorted feminine attitudes. Like any of us, men simply try to find their way, most of them peacefully, in a jungle of lies, discouraged by and opposed to the same injustices, while too many suffered equally cruel fates. All gender, children, and animals have. Of exploitation, enslavement, torture, racism, persecution, sexual abuse, for which especially men are so often ridiculed, ignored, or even shamed, adding insult to injury. Monsters nor victims defined by species or sex, as depicted in archaic storybooks. Categories of any kind make believe of how any being is supposedly inherently different, while this mostly appears in the various ways we communicate the same desires, seen for who we are, loved and valued. A natural longing without distinction, it's the core of a soul's basic needs. Differences in who we are, not characterized by any label, but personality and taste. miscellaneous styles of individuality, seamlessly united by a gracious essence underneath. With strong boundaries in place, my heart open, compassionate towards the ones who induce suffering, forgiving their wrongdoings. Because I know the source of any human-based harmful actions always comes from some illusion, fear, or loathing of self, triggered by the reflection of another, a deception they believed. Love and compassion to violence and hate, what light is to the dark, not even that much is needed to make it disappear. If only we allow ourselves to see evil is never the higher truth of any live being. Branches of Olive is from my book Unity I Am, Poetics of Oneness. If we continue to focus on sides, labels, and differences, we will always be at war. I've also created the North Star Times, a one-time free paper that can be read online. You can find a link in the description. Now, as a footnote, and only because I know parts of it could and maybe will be twisted if I don't, I'd like to add that by no means it's to erase certain distinctions between us, biological or otherwise. They have a purpose and exist for a reason. Mother Nature is ancient, extremely intelligent, and I believe she knows what she's doing. Doesn't mean nothing ever goes wrong, but I believe it's the exception, not a general occurrence, and maybe because of certain factors unrelated to her nature. Besides, I have several very masculine traits and likes, and never related much to most women's interests, ideas, or behaviors, but I've never been confused about my gender. Ever. It's nothing new. I believe, like others, it's what's happened throughout history with all things beautiful in life, or what makes us powerful as humans. And we can't have that, right? We might just become the best versions of ourselves and find true freedom. Everything has and is being done to prevent that from happening. My answer to all of that, or a contemplation rather, is one of my own quotes. Lies in all of their clever disguises will always divide, while truth naturally unites. Keep using that awesome brain of yours to think for yourself. And please, in your attempts to protect it, as you should, and unfortunately it's needed, don't close off your heart. I believe it's our superpower, the one some really don't want us to figure out. So, shh. And speaking of the heart, How Did You Love from Shinedown? Great band, song, and message. I can't play any of it here for copyright reasons, obviously, but I'll put a link to their video in the description box for those interested. And if you, as a man, like to feel less alone or crazy and haven't seen it yet, you may be interested in the Representation Project. My apologies, it's The Mask You Live In by the Representation Project. I'm so sorry, it's been several years since I last referred to it and I just forgot. A powerful documentary on men, their development in our modern society, what that has done, and how it's often expressed. One I think everyone should see, not just men. It confirmed what I had felt for years when I came across it years ago, and I think it can help women to understand where behaviors are coming from. It's a rental these days, but I think well worth the few dollars they ask, and I'll put a link in the description as well as one to the free trailer. Take care. Bye. Now, if you like what I'm doing here, you may want to put up a thumb, drop a comment, subscribe, any of which, all of them, whatever you feel like, if any. It would greatly help my channel and that would make me really happy. No, it would just help reach more people and it really helps out. So, thanks.